This man is in serious trouble. People are calling for him to be fired.
This country is built on immigration.
Okay, so far I can't argue with that. If every immigrant in the UK disappeared tomorrow, our NHS would collapse. Our economy would collapse. We would be in serious trouble.
Legal immigration, you know, a lot of the nurses, the doctors that have saved my mum's life have come over here from other countries.
Another thing he's done here that I like is he's distinguishing between legal migration and illegal migration, because I think some people put them all into the same bucket, particularly racist people. So that's a good distinction to make.
Paying into this tax system, they're helping this country thrive. I find it absolutely insane that all these people, one, are risking their lives coming across the channel like that they are.
Yep, he is right about this also. So people coming across on the channel is extremely dangerous. A lot of people drown whilst crossing the channel. It's something that we need to eliminate. And also that method of people coming across is not a good thing, because we don't know who is in the country. If they come in on a rubber dinghy, you don't know who's here. There are potential security risks from that. It's very unlikely, but there are potential risks.
But two, when they get here, it does seem, and I think this is why a lot of Labour voters as well are now sitting there going, there's something wrong here. It seems, welcome, come on in. This is the narrative we're being fed.
Yeah.
Here's the hotel. Here's the phones. Here's the iPad. Here's the NHS in reception of your hotel. Here's 3 meals a day. Here's a games room in the hotel. Have a lovely time and welcome.
Oh, Rylan, you were doing so well. You said it yourself. It's a narrative you've been told. It's not a true narrative. Asylum seekers that come over and stay in hotels, they're not living the high life. Those are not normal hotels anymore. They have been transformed into a very basic form of accommodation with just essentially the basic necessities that they need to survive. Now, to me, it makes far more sense that we allow asylum seekers to work, allow them to join and contribute in society, because it's not the asylum seekers' fault that they can't work, that they're stuck in these hotels. It's literally the policy that we have. If we let them go out and get jobs, they could pay taxes, contribute to society. They literally are legally prevented from doing that. And that's our policies. They don't make any sense, but that's our policies. But please don't just listen to the far right media and their twisted, manipulative narratives and just take them as facts, because they're not facts. They are manipulations, and they do it on purpose.
And then there's people that have lived here all their lives that are struggling.
Yeah.
They're homeless. Let's not even discuss our homeless.
Yeah.
That are people living on the streets, veterans, all of this.
It's an important issue. You're right to be concerned about the homeless situation. I think it's a situation that is overlooked way too much. I rarely hear politicians talking about the homeless crisis. And when I do hear about it, it's Suella Braverman saying something quite offensive.
Living in a tent has become a lifestyle choice.
The reason why we have so many people that are struggling is because inequality in the UK is very high, and it's getting worse. There has also been systemic failure to build enough properties, partly because of very old-fashioned planning permission system. And many of our builders, which we need to build these homes, were from the European Union, from places like Poland. After Brexit, they left, and now we have a shortage of builders, which is great because we've got a bloody housing crisis.
I believe that something major needs to be done about this. The money that it's costing us.
Okay, I would say that this is kind of misinformation, but this is part of the problem where there is so much manipulation going on, where far-right politicians and far-right media stations talk about how much it's costing you all of the time. But the reality is, if we close down all of the asylum hotels, and by the way, there's going to be a huge cost associated with how you then fix that situation. But let's just imagine that we completely just all of the asylum hotels and all of the asylum seekers just vanished into thin air, right? That would save us around £3.1 billion a year. Okay, our deficit, which is the amount of money our country is losing as of last year, was over £130 billion. Like, don't get me wrong, it's really an inefficient way of housing people, to house them in hotels. That is a really inefficient usage and allocation of funds. There have got to be more affordable ways of housing people than to put them in hotels. But to clarify, it's really not going to save the UK taxpayer. Like, it's literally a drop in the ocean compared to our actual debt. But yeah, people talk about it all the time as if it's some ginormous issue. You know, what we should be talking about is Brexit, right? Brexit costs us tens of £billions a year. But instead, the far right media, the far right politicians are so successful in manipulating you, in pretending that this is the biggest financial issue that is affecting you. It's literally not. It literally costs you so little compared to these much bigger issues like Brexit. And I'm sorry to say this, but if you believe that asylum seeker hotels are one of the biggest financial issues facing our country, you have been thoroughly and utterly manipulated. And I'm really sorry to say that.